Hey there. Whoop, wrong way. Welcome to day 15 of the Get Up and Go Challenge to create the best life we can possibly have during times of chaos and change. We're on the P of soaP. In our soaP framework, the P is for progress. Progress is really important. And I always think of let's get physical whenever I'm talking about and thinking about physical change or physical challenges in my life. And I get to the P in progress because I think about, and we're going to talk about this in our tool today. Our tool today is something called the lifeline exercise. And I've done this. I learned about it probably 30 years ago. I think the first time I ever did a lifeline exercise was when I was working at Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble was amazing for training their new hires and new people in the organization. And I got some incredible trainings when I worked there. And one of the exercises in one of the trainings back then, which was, 35 plus years ago, actually it's probably 40 some years ago. I'd have to do the math, but it was a long, long time ago. But one of the things I learned about was called the lifeline exercise. And what we do, and I've already mapped it out in my little homework book. You can see my homework from yesterday. And I mapped it out, and all you do is you put a line on a piece of paper because we're going to keep this simple. So you can make a lifeline exercise as complicated or as simple as you want. Here's an example of my previous lifeline, the one I did in our last challenge. But for this one, what we do is we put the date. I just put the month and the year I was born. And then the end, I put October 2020 because that's where we are right now. And then I put an arrow because I want my life to continue, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the high points and the low points of my physical health on this timeline. So back here, I suppose in 2010, I would go below the line because I actually had a sudden cardiac arrest and expired. Now, luckily, I popped back up and I was okay. But the line is just kind of like, this is just the bottom existence type line. And then I go above the line for high points, and I go below the line, or right barely getting by is the line. If I go below the line, it means that I've had a major health challenge or a major issue. Like in my 20s, I had a lot of health challenges. And so that was below the line for me because I was bedridden and I couldn't do a lot of things. And so to me, from a health standpoint, that was definitely below the line. And the same with, the sudden cardiac arrest. That was a lucky to be here moment. So that's definitely a below the line one. But otherwise, most of my stuff's above the line, except for little blips when I was like on the line, which is like just barely surviving minimum. So I would put, when I was born up higher as, hey, I was born healthy, pretty much optimal health. So that would be probably perfect health for me. And so I kind of like to add on my timeline what I'm shooting for, like what is my perfect health point? And when in my life have I been close to that? Because guess what? I have been close to that on a lot of occasions. It's like if I think about, if I were to graph my weight over the course of my life, I would actually see and realize that my weight has been closer to my ideal weight more of my life than it hasn't. Yet I've been one of those yo-yo dieter people that have for years battled with and fought with my weight, which is maybe something I should address in the mental or emotional well-being and health category when I'm examining my life. But a lifeline exercise, draw a state line, not the state line, a straight line, and just start marking high points and low points in your life. Let me see if I can see what the physical one was on this particular lifeline. I don't remember. I suspect it's the orange one on this particular lifeline. I'm not positive, but I think it's the orange. I didn't put a key on it, but I suspect that. And what we're looking for when we look at our graph, when we look at our lifeline, what we're looking for is a trend moving upward, right? We want our life or moving closer and closer to that ideal. Like if this was my lifeline, I would say orange would be like right about here would be the high point in my health, perfect health for me. And of course that's subjective and defined by you, but that would be my line. And I would want to be as close to that as possible. And I'd want to see that I was moving up in a trending fashion toward that goal or objective. So physically, I think what I will do as part of my moving forward with this particular area of my life, I'm gonna have to get a scale if I'm gonna do that. Or I'll pick up a pair of jeans or something that I don't fit into, and I'll try them on every week to gauge my progress and see if I'm making progress toward what I want. the lifeline exercise is one of the easiest, quickest ways to do this in our overall life. Because sometimes we find ourselves in a time of change and chaos and a lot of change, and we were focusing on the problem and we forget all of the times we've been successful in this area of our life, all of the successes we have. And in order to succeed now, we want to pile up and the memories and the feeling of when we've been successful with something in the past and what we want to do now. Now, I can already hear people saying in their head, because I would say this in my head, I haven't been successful in this before. I've never done this particular thing, or I've never gotten this particular thing. Say your goal is to, I don't know, lose 50 pounds, make $1 million, travel around the world, whatever it is, or write a book. It can be anything. Whatever your goal is, you and you haven't done it yet, you're already automatically saying, well, I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that. I don't know that if it's possible for me. And so we want to pile up similar experiences from our past that remind us and remind us that we're capable and we're still here and that we can achieve whatever it is that we want to. But we'll talk about that later on. Today, we're just thinking about progress. So our action item today is to actually do a lifeline. Whatever area of your life you're working on, day you're born or the month you're born, today's date, and just the high and low points. You know, if you have 5 to 10 points on it, that's awesome. You don't have to put everything. It depends how detail oriented a person you are, how much detail you want to add to your lifeline. I'm pretty much keep it simple, nuts and bolts. I mean, this is actually pretty complicated for me. And I even wrote the high points on it, you know, kidney surgery, sick and bedridden. It's interesting, from 60s to the 70s, I didn't have hardly anything. There's just little blips, right? And so it's up to you to decide how much detail you want to have in it. But we're looking for progress. Human beings have an innate need, just as much as we need food and water and movement and other key things. We also need to feel like we're making progress, to know that we're moving forward in the direction we want to go in our lives. That's our lesson for today. Go out, make it an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. What are we going to do next? The only way to find out is to pop in and see. Take care. Bye.